also by helping to fill the empty board seats on this council so that there is a quorum every time you go to take a vote. I think the seniors deserve more.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. I think, first of all, I want to say this, that I take our senior population in the city very seriously. And the proof of that is in what the council did during the pandemic. We wanted to make sure that every single senior in the city was able to get food. We were delivering over 1,000 boxes of food a day to all our senior buildings throughout the entire city. And anybody that needed any kind of help, whether it been food, medical, or any other issue, we gave them phone numbers that they could reach out to. We were using Lynn Cam every single day to reach out to them, as well as working with Jim Lamanna, trying to come up with several different locations during the pandemic. The council was reaching out to the Salvation Army to see if that was a possible spot. Also to a couple other locations on Franklin Street. It's the mayor's office that appoints the people to the board. It's not the council. We would love to have a role in that. We would absolutely love to play a part in appointing people to the board. I totally 100% agree with you that, and I can sense the frustration. I hope you can sense the frustration in my voice right now, that we've been kind of kicked to the side when it comes to these.
No kidding.
Pardon? Go ahead.
Kay agreed. Kay said no kidding.
Okay.
Yep.
And I mean, we would love to play an active role, and if we can, we will. So, you know, did you have a question, Chris? I saw you.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to add, before the RFP went out, I had gone to at least 15 to 20 places as well. So we was, as soon as I got the job, that was like my number one priority, was looking at these places. And I went to a lot of places and none of them seemed adequate. So I think one of these two potential bidders would most likely be a good fit.
And what the possibility may be, to be honest, is that we may have to wind up finding a spot and building it ourselves. And if we do, now we have to come up with the funds to do that. And I know that nobody wants to hear what I'm saying, but I'm being as upfront and honest as I can be about it.
Mary has a question.
I have a question. I know you shared that the possibility was Shaw's, but that's ruled out. A food store is going in there. A food
It's
store
going on one side of it, Mary.
Oh, what do you mean on one side? Where
They divided this, Mary.
I'm sorry?
They divided the
that
space.
store.
Oh, they divided the space?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and also I'd like to add to the question that Ann expressed, and I am truly in agreement with her. But even though we weren't using the list, they were still calling people who are on the line and passing out brown bags. They did it last month. And my understanding too is that some seniors were contacted, not all of us. But I stand in full agreement of what she's saying. I can understand the frustration. Perhaps, Ann, you may want to put in to be on the board.
Correct.
I have.
Story in itself.
I did apply in January of 2020 and had an interview with the mayor's office. Several other people, I think Joan will confirm this, and a couple of other people who I have heard about did apply, did interview, and heard nothing back. As I understand it, there are currently 7 seats filled on the board. I might be wrong with my numbers. I believe 11 are, that's the total number that the board can have. I've been to 3 meetings before the pandemic. I'm fairly new to the city. I am trying to get involved. And at those meetings, there was not a quorum each time. It seems to me that a priority would be for the board to be able to function and have the voices that you need on there.
I couldn't agree with more than with what you're saying. I honestly couldn't. And she said you've applied, you know the process is being conducted through the mayor's office. The only say the council would have in it, and I will try to find out what the delays are there for you. I can put a request in to find out why it's taking so long.
Thank you. Actually, Rick Starbird has already done that. He's my Ward 2 counselor.
Okay.
And he has been very responsive. And
what?
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So I just want everybody to know that once the mayor's office does pick someone, that the only say that the council has, we approve that person or we deny that person, and that's it. We can recommend people, send a letter of support for a person, and I'm more than willing to do that through our office. If anybody, I know there are some people who have reached out, Smitty, I believe, reached out to me, wants to get on the boards. So a council would absolutely send a letter of recommendation to anybody that wants to be on the board. I'm not saying that's going to speed up the process.
Darren, the problem was in the mayor's office. We had too many people doing it. I think Elizabeth started it. Then Elizabeth left. It kind of went over to Michael, then to the other girl. So paperwork has gotten lost in the process. People have left the mayor's office. So each time somebody's starting from scratch with this, and that's the issue right now, because now it's on to somebody else has the paperwork.
Yep, and that's completely unacceptable, Diane. Absolutely 100% unacceptable. And
So as people leave the mayor's office, paperwork's getting lost in the shuffle.
Yep, and that's unfair to the seniors. That's completely disrespect.
Yes.
Darren,
Yep,
I have to tell you, I applied over 2 years ago. I was interviewed by Elizabeth. Every single council meeting that I have attended, I had asked about this very situation. When will we hear? A letter, a phone call. So then I was told, well, follow up with a phone call. And I did that recently. Went to voicemail, explained my problem, and still have not heard anything. Yeah, or
is that
nay.
the mayor's office or the council office?
The mayor's office.
Okay,
I was told to call the mayor's office and left the message, and I still have heard nothing.
Yeah.
So just tell me, yes or no?
I agree. To try to get it,
And I served many years ago
yep,
on the council, both the Council on Aging and the GLIS board. So it's not like I'm unfamiliar with the process. And we had the same issues when I served on the Lynn Council on Aging under Al DiVirgilio was our president. And we were not getting any response then. We were always short on that board.
yep.
For whatever reason, it seems like we cannot get a quorum on the Council on Aging board.
I can tell you, and I'm trying not to be political in my response to that, but my frustration is exactly what everybody here is facing over the last few years with other boards and commissions as well. That it takes forever for a decision to be made, that there is no response to requests about it, that's unacceptable. Absolutely, 100%. It's unfair to you. It's unfair to our community. It's unfair to us. And I'm not defending it at all. Believe me.
And I'm reaching out through this venue to Anne, who I have admired because she speaks so strongly for the seniors and tells it like it is. We have been neglected through this pandemic. You talk about what has been done for senior housing. What about the seniors who live in their own homes? There has been nothing, no outreach anywhere. We're out there on our own. So
the only thing I can say is
Anne, please
that
join the Friends. We need you.
I will absolutely join the Friends, but the only thing that I can say is that I don't know who's living in their own house. As council president, what we did do, as I said earlier, was as soon as this pandemic started, we knew there was going to be an issue with food shortages. And what we decided to do was the Lynn City Council, along with the Salvation Army, reached out and using Lynn Cam and Facebook and any other sources that we had at our disposal, give out phone numbers that if anybody was a shut-in in their own home and needed help, they could reach out to us.
Darren, you also have access to the tax rolls.
Yep.
Seniors who have been getting help because they are in their own home. That would be an easy way to find out those people who are out there on their own trying to survive through this pandemic. You have access to the tax rolls. You can see who's volunteering on the various programs to help with their tax bills.
Yep. Well, I know, and we did reach out to various groups throughout the city to say if there were any issues or problems. There was a gentleman that we met with on Market Street who was running a senior thing, and we asked him to reach out to his groups. We did reach out to as many groups as we possibly could. You're 100% right. We did not use the resource of the tax rolls.
Thank you.
100%.
Could I have one last comment on the board seats, if you don't mind? The fact that people have put in applications, been interviewed, and not heard anything back discourages people from putting in applications for the boards. The reason I put in my application was basically to test the system because I couldn't believe that this city, the size of this city, is so inefficient at appointing board members because that's where you get your city input and your public input from. There should be a representative board. A white woman should not be applying for this city board. We are already represented on the board. I did it to find out why things weren't happening. And number two, if you want to get in touch with the seniors, there were registrations at the senior center. There was a list for newsletters to go out. You have a compilation somewhere in the city of the people who have registered with the senior center. Where is that? Where are the flyers being sent out to everybody on the newsletter list? Do we have phone numbers for all those seniors?
I'm not on that committee or board. I don't know. And I don't know if Chris knows. But as I stated, I'm just as frustrated with trying to get people appointed, not just to this board, but to other boards in the city. I agree 100%. It's unacceptable. And I've been saying that now for 3 years, 4 years. It falls on deaf ears.
Well, it has to change.
The mayor's office does represent the city. In the council, I am the council president, and the buck stops with me. And I take responsibilities. Every single board that the council is responsible for, when the seat needs to be filled, it's done in a timely manner. And I'm talking within days or weeks, not months or years. It is unfair. I'm not, I know I'm kind of, my blood pressure is going up. And as you, Ann, I am just as frustrated and just as upset.
Does anybody have any other questions for Councilor Seer?
Mary Joyner has her hand up.
Well, what I want to say is I myself also put in to be on the board in 2019. Elizabeth interviewed me, and I myself also never heard. But I think with this discussion, this is a good place to start, that it has to stop. We have to get to the sources of who is responsible so that people can hear what the status is, yay or nay. That's all I have to say on it. Thank you.
I think, can I just say too, I think that Chris, because you are working out of the mayor's office right now, correct?
No, I work in the public health, but I'm going down there in a little while, and I'll bring this up to them for sure.
You being, new to it in the last few months, you know, you can see the frustration on everybody.
Yeah.
So coming from you might be easier to take for them than coming from me.
Yeah.
Because my relationship isn't all that great with that office, and I'm being right up front about it. It's unfortunate. And I've tried, but it's just that's the way it is.
Yeah, I'll definitely, when I go down there, I'll be having a conversation and I'll update everyone on what I hear and going forward. And I'll keep this on the front burner and we'll definitely try to get those appointments as soon as possible.
And whatever I can do to help, I'll be there. If you want to have a meeting with me, you and the mayor, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever we have to do, those seats need to be filled, and the frustration, you know, it makes me feel bad because, you know, the seniors, I care about you guys a lot. So this is something important to you guys. So therefore it's important for me and for you as well. So I'm gonna go downstairs as soon as we get off this meeting and go have a conversation with them.
Chris, when I called probably 2 weeks ago again, basically I was told the mayor is waiting to appoint somebody. He has all the paperwork. So everyone I speak to in the mayor's office, it's on him. He has everything. So good luck.
I just want to point out that in the chat, we have one of the folks, Phil Lynch, that was suggesting other places to speak about or to announce the cookout, and I will copy and paste that in the notes. And also, Phil asked about institutions that don't pay taxes to the city. Perhaps they could contribute and help with the COA and the process to help the COA.
What do you mean, like a nonprofit to help in which way?
That's just what Phil wrote.
Oh, okay.
What about the institutions that don't pay taxes to the city? Perhaps they can contribute a meeting room to start a process to help the COA.
Is that a question to me, Pam?
I think it's to everyone.
Yeah. So can I just answer that? Because I truly agree that there are over 350 nonprofit groups and organizations in the city of Lynn that provide services to many different groups for many different needs. And you're right, some of them own buildings, some of them rent space in buildings, and they don't pay property tax because they're considered to be a nonprofit group. But they use all the resources of the city, everything from the fire and police department. They drive on our roads, or even people that come in from surrounding communities that use those services. So if they can contribute in some way, whether it be through monetary means or whether it be through providing space, that's a great point, what you're saying, that we've been talking about that and advocating for that for years. But every time we as a council try to ask someone to do that, they really get real defensive about it, and they start, you know, telling us that they don't have, first of all, the responsibility to pay the taxes or the responsibility to provide space. And I'm, you know, so, but I mean, if we could put together a coalition of people, private citizens maybe, to work on something like that so that these groups know that everybody would benefit from it, I think that would be a start.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Where is the Marshall School at right now? Is the school committee, is that on hold? Is the school